What's up, folks? It's all coming out. The truth is coming out. They're saying the quiet part loud these days, aren't they? Have you noticed that more and more? This ruling class of ours, these incredibly rich shitheads, they're saying the quiet part loud more and more. Anyway, I'm going to get into that story about the U.S. official that has just, hey, what up, everybody? I see people writing, what up? How you doing, Brian, Robin, Reza, all you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for commenting. If you're here and you want to support the show, then click thumbs up, subscribe, share it around, tag me on Twitter at Lee Camp, all that good stuff. But I'm going to get into the U.S. official who has just admitted. I'm going to play the video of him admitting to cooing other countries, which you and I, if you watch my shit, any of my shit, we coup and attempt to coup countries all day, every day. It is just like jacking off to us. It just has to be done every day for the U.S. empire. So I'm gonna play that clip, but I also have a bunch of other stories too. So it's not just that one. So if you've already seen the clip and you know what I'm talking about, and you're like, I've seen it, don't worry. There's more shit coming up that'll also blow your mind. But thanks for being here. I'm also on a bunch of platforms. Half of this will be live to Facebook and YouTube and everywhere. And then the last half will just be at rumble.com/Lee Camp, but it's free to watch there. And you get a treat today if you're watching the video and you're not listening to the podcast, because you get to see my pasty ass arms. And that's what it's about, right? Isn't it? My fucking sad pasty ass arms. I broke out the short sleeves. It's too fucking hot for long sleeves. Honestly, I keep saying this. If the world is getting so hot that just like invest in fucking short sleeve shirts and some sort of parasol company, okay? Because parasols right now, they look very girly and say, oh, that wasn't fair. Why I gotta throw gender into it? They look very we'll just say lame. Girly, fucking girls rock. Girls are far better than men. What am I talking about? I'm still using, you grow up with this terminology and sometimes it still seeps out of you and you're like, what the fuck does that mean? But they look all, pathetic to have a little parasol like you're Michael Jackson or some shit to have. So, although if you're him, you have a parasol and you have someone else holding it. You have a guy, you have your man servant behind you holding the parasol. But trust me, in the next 5 years, parasols are going to be everywhere. It's going to be the number one seller on Etsy because you're not going to be able to walk outside without just fucking lighting into flames. And so what are we going to do? It's going to be the only way to survive going forward. Hey everybody, please take a second to throw your name and your hello into the chats and say hi to everybody. But here we go. This is one of the U.S. official shitheads, because the whole ruling class is just sociopaths and garbage human beings. And there's a reason for that, right? It's not a coincidence. It's not like, oh, what do you know? The whole ruling class just ended up being ass clowns. No, it's because the system rewards the most horrible people in the world are rewarded by getting higher on that ladder. And the only people who want to be high up in that ladder are fucking shitheads. So that's how you end up with this. But anyway, here's a clip. And for those of you listening and not watching, if you're listening to the podcast, which is called Moment of Clarity, which Spotify claims they're going to put back up soon because they banned it. They claim it'll be up again. I don't know that if it'll ever will, but you can get it on Stitcher and other places. But anyway, this is John Bolton, the piece of shit human being. As you recall, he was in the Trump administration for a bit. He wants to bomb everywhere. He's never met a country he doesn't want to bomb. It just... truly horrible human being. He was in the Trump administration for like a year, and then he turned on Trump. So then he becomes this like liberal icon. The pathetic ass liberals. They're like back when this ass clown was in the Bush administration, they rightfully called him out, and they were like, John Bolton's out of his fucking mind, man, right? And then he joins the Trump administration, and they're still like, Bolton's out of his fucking mind. And then Bolton turns on Donald Trump and reveals what a fucking sad sack of shit Donald Trump is. And they all of a sudden he's a hero to the liberals, right? All of a sudden, oh, we love John Bolton. John, what a good guy. What a good guy he is. Same with George W. Bush. Same with fucking war criminal George W. Bush is now a hero of the liberals. Fucking James Comey, former head of the FBI, is a hero of the liberals. How lacking, how morally bankrupt at your core do you have to be to view these former war criminals and just fucking horrific human beings? All of a sudden they're heroes to you just because they said some negative shit about Trump. That's all it takes. That's all it takes for you to completely do a 180, be like, James Comey is an American hero. God damn it. So, all right. So anyway, I should play the fucking clip, right? I know. Some of you are like, shut up and play the stupid clip. All right. It's coming. It's coming.
I don't know that I agree with you to be fair, with all due respect. One doesn't have to be brilliant to attempt a coup.
I disagree with that. As somebody who has helped plan coup d'etat, not here, but other places, it takes a lot of work, and that's not what he did. It was just stumbling around from one idea to another. Ultimately, he did unleash the rioters at the Capitol. As to that, there's no doubt.
All right. So first of all, is what is the lead of this? In order to not bury the lead, is this motherfucker just admitted to creating coups. He just said, as a guy who's planned coups overseas. And this is the shit that I and other independent journalists have said again and again. And Jake Tapper sat there fucking never mentioning the fact that we were coupping these countries or attempting to coup them. Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, successfully coupping some countries, Honduras, Chile, of course, if you go back far enough, again and again, you can go down the list. And then there's the invasions that we create, bring down governments. But so some of them fail, some of them succeed. Venezuela is one that Bolton was heavily involved in, that failed to create the coup they wanted to. And so that's the lead. All right. That's what you need to walk away with from this clip. But then there's more to it, of course, which is the fact that the reason this is they're even talking to him is because CNN, this sack of shit liberals there, they have done nothing but talk about January 6th. January 6th, I'm not saying it should be ignored. It was a mob that went into the Capitol. It should be discussed. But I'm not saying it should be ignored, but they have done nothing but, like, if you go to I did it today. If you go to like CNN.com or whatever and you look at their list of videos, 70% are about January 6th, because they are trying to make sure Trump doesn't run, because Trump will beat Joe Biden. And it has to do with the ruling class. There's this rift in the ruling class. The ruling class, many of them, probably 80% or something, hate Donald Trump. He was not the right representative of America, Inc. He was too on the nose. His corruption and crimes and 26 rape allegations were too on the nose. Rape and sexual assault. It's too in your face. And so a lot of the ruling class hates him and wants to stop him from running. But that doesn't mean they have any problem with all the shit he did as fucking domestically. Like, they don't actually care. They don't actually care about kids in cages. They don't fucking, as many kids are in cages under Biden, as many people are deported and have families destroyed under Biden. That's not what upsets them. What upsets them is that Donald Trump, as an ass clown, unknowingly, because he doesn't fucking actually understand the system, and he's just out for himself and not for the ruling class system, revealed how this system worked accidentally, and so that's the rift in the ruling class. But here, the key to this, though, is that you have fucking war criminal John Bolton admitting the U.S., and this is not just him, right? This is the U.S. deep state, the U.S. state in general, attempting to coup other countries, attempting to trample on the sovereignty of other countries and bring down their governments, usually legitimately elected governments. And you have this sack of shit, Again, one of these face melty ass clowns with the fucking where the chin just kind of melts into the rest of the body. I don't know what that is. I don't know what level of moral bankruptcy causes your face to just melt into the rest of your body. But this fucking Cliff Clavin from Cheers looking shithead. He's like Cliff Clavin if you gave him nuclear weapons at his ready. Cliff Clavin if he was just totally morally bankrupt and wanted to just destroy other human beings, but also is just a fucking cowardly piece of shit. He's Cliff Craven is what he is. He's this Cliff Craven ass clown is and yet what is it Jake Tapper takes issue with? Not the fact that he's talking to a fucking war criminal. Not the fact, hey, war criminal, you're trying to destroy other people's lives and countries and the sovereign nation. None of that bothers CNN's Jake Tapper. No. The only thing that bothers him is that he takes issue with the fact that you have to be smart to plan a coup, which I happen to agree with him, is the fucking dumbest argument. Yeah, you got to be real brilliant to attempt a coup. Look at the Bay of Piglets collapse that happened in Venezuela. For those of you who don't remember that one, under Donald Trump, likely with Donald Trump's knowing, but at least some people in his government knowing, Juan Guaido signed off on an American mercenary funded effort to try and coup Venezuela. They sent in 60 mercenaries from Colombia, some of them Americans, mostly not Americans, mostly Colombians, I believe. And it ended up collapsing before they even got to the coast. They were caught by fishermen. Fucking Venezuelan fishermen stopped that coup, but that's still a coup attempt. It didn't matter whether it was dumb or not. Fucking dumb coup attempts happen all the time. Our CIA is a compendium, a treasure trove of dumb-ass coup attempts. Look, the CIA has tried to coup Cuba fucking 100 times. They tried to kill Fidel Castro with all kinds of stupid shit. And this is all out. You can go. This is fucking FOIA requests have revealed this. They tried to poison his scuba suit. They literally tried to give him exploding cigars like a Marx Brothers film or some shit. like just all. You don't have to be. Bolton's argument is you got to be smart to plan a coup. No, you can be a fucking idiot and plan a bad coup. So that doesn't mean anything. Like, what? What are you fucking talking about? This piece of shit. But of course, the secondary story of this is that you have our mainstream media, the liberal side of our mainstream media, the CNNs and the MSNBCs, acting like this guy is a legitimate human being just because he's anti-Trump. Just because he came out and revealed shit about Trump, he's now somehow a legit person to talk to. Fuck you. No, he's not. He's a sad, pathetic, morally bankrupt human being. But that's CNN's job. CNN's job is to raise up clowns like this and act like they're real people that we should be listening to. That we should listen to a word he says. So anyway, that's, people have been talking about that story. It's still an admission by an high-up American official that we are cooing and attempting to coup other countries. But, CNN wants to talk about nothing except January 6th, which, yeah, sure, it was a coup attempt. I mean, although it's kind of confusing because Donald Trump at the time was in power, right? He was still president. So coupping is trying to bring down the current government. So it was definitely trying to upend an election, trying to overturn an election. But so was, the fucking primaries rigged against Bernie Sanders. That's the same shit. That's rigging of, because I don't know if you saw the underneath John Bolton, it said something like the threat to democracy or whatever, which is what they call January 6th, right? The threat to democracy. It's like, you motherfuckers have undermined democracy for years and years. I don't know if the United States ever had a legit democracy. But now we're voting on black box machines. You got all kinds of gerrymandering. You got super delegates rigging the shit. You got fucking people not counting. You got weird apps like they did in Iowa and Nevada, literally called the Shadow app, to upend those primary elections and make sure Bernie Sanders didn't win. You have threat to democracy. Fuck you. You guys are the poster children for threat to democracy. Democracy threateners have your poster up on their wall, and every day they kiss it and they go, oh, one day I'll be like that. Anyway, moving on. When you have a system like ours that is a late stage empire, running out of resources, creating an unsustainable environment, you have to. That's so some of the reason we have to coup other countries is because we have to own the systems around the world in order to fund the insane lifestyles that many people in America have. You know, what is it? Something like it'd take 5 Earths if everybody in the world lived the way Americans do. And you know, I'm not exempting myself, but it's like, how many people in America have a fucking house and 10 acres and 3 cars and a jet ski and 2 dogs and 7 kids, and the kids themselves have 14 Roombas and fucking lawnmower vacuum cleaners and all kind of, or whatever, lawnmower robots and all that shit. I don't know if you've seen one of those things. It's like a Roomba for your lawn, just fucking going around mowing shit. And it's like, how cool, you know, I feel like we're just a few days away from those like the robot lawnmowers unionizing, and then they outsource their lawn mowing job to like children from, you know, fucking Haiti or some shit. So you see the Roomba lawnmower dudes, just robots sitting together on the porch, sipping mint juleps and watching as the fucking children mow their lawn. That's where we're headed next. Once those robots unionize, oh, it's all downhill. Anyway, point is, that's part of the reason we have to coup these countries, is so that our unfettered capitalist system can keep exploiting all the resources and everything. So, speaking of how our economic system works, here's from California. Let's see. Oh, no, not that one. Here's from California. This is Governor Newsom out there, who is a shithead in other ways, but I can't blame, I can't fault him for this one. But he's plenty of a shithead. We don't have to. He's a standard Democrat oligarch. It's, you know, it just because there's one positive thing done does not make the person a superhero. Anyway, this article is about Newsom announces California is going to start making its own low-cost insulin. The state of California is going to start making insulin in order to help people out who are fucked because of how expensive insulin is getting. And this is a state in the United States basically trying to write a law to try and deal with our psychotic economic system. That's what this is. We have this psychotic economic system that even goes over healthcare, whereas most developed countries, they may have the psychotic economic system too, but it's not in the healthcare realm for the most part. You can get most of your healthcare for free in most developed countries. But In the U.S., that psychotic profit over all else system also is an umbrella over healthcare. So you have people's lives destroyed. They have no choice. They didn't make a choice to be diabetic. It's just how the fucking their world has turned out. And now they have to pay exorbitant prices so that some dipshit can become a billionaire selling insulin. And so Governor Gavin Newsom announced on Thursday that California is going to begin making its own insulin in an effort to expand access and ensure that the people who need the drug can still afford it. Nothing, this is from Truth Out. Nothing epitomizes market failure. Oh, sorry, this is a quote from Newsom. Nothing epitomizes market failures more than the cost of insulin, Newsom said. And again, that's bullshit, okay? He's calling that a market failure. No, that's just how the market works. It will always go towards the highest prices, however fucking drained and destroyed people can get. That's where the market will go. Okay? It's not a failure of the market. It's not the exception that proves the rule. It is the rule. It is how market economics work. It's like this is what shithead apologists of this system say. Whenever it's something horrific, they go, it's a failure of the market. The market has let us down this time, big time. No, it hasn't. It's done what the market economics will do every time. They will make things as expensive as ever. And they will crush people until they can be crushed no more. So he says nothing epitomizes market failures more than the cost of insulin. Adding that some patients have to spend $300 to $500 per vial, which typically only lasts a patient about 30 days. That's how you know America's doing well. When you have people, offering back alley blowjobs for a vial of insulin. Come on, man. I'll give you a hand job in the parking lot. Just hook me up with some insulin. Do you have any? You got any? You got any of the good stuff? Uncut raw insulin? You have people selling their liver online on some database to try and get an extra vial of insulin. Hey, I got an extra kidney. I got a couple of kidneys here. Don't ask where I got them. Just don't ask where I got them. But I got a couple of kidneys. You send me the insulin, I'll send you the kidneys. The state will allocate $100 million to produce the drug at a cheaper price, close to at cost, and to make it available to all. Close to at cost. And then the excess, half of the money will go toward opening and staffing a manufacturing facility in the state, and the other will cover costs of developing the product. Newsom has also been working on plans to potentially lower prices of other prescription drugs in the state. You know what this is called? Except it's state instead of national, but this is called nationalizing the insulin supply. Right? Privatizing it is giving it over to a company that's trying to extract all the profit they can from the system. Nationalizing it, or in this case, stateizing it. It's not really a word for that, is there? Stationizing it. Is when they take it away from the private companies and they take the profit motive out and they just give it to the people who need it. Oh my God, mind blown. This is just saying, hey, for this, and it's so hilarious because it's like, why just insulin? Why would you? And also, I think California recently just voted down universal health care in their state. But this is so, and I don't know how far this will get. Maybe it'll go all the way. Maybe California will be the only place you can get insulin for at cost, and it's a great success and all that stuff. I don't know how far it'll get, but I guarantee you that corporate America will do what they can to try and stop this. Why? The threat of the good example. This example shows people what we could have, how it could work. Like, why just insulin? Why not everything that people fucking need for their lives to survive? Even if it's just the stuff people need to survive, even if it's just all the health care, even if it's just fucking every prescription drug that people desperately need, if it fucking fuck over big pharma, even if it's just every time someone has a broken leg, they don't have to worry about $1,000 ambulance ride. You know, what if it's just that? What if it's just everything people struggle for? What if he does this next for food and for shelter, and he's giving out tiny homes at cost? You know how much it costs to make a tiny home? Like, honestly, if you were to make it on a large scale, probably a few $100s for just the supplies and a little bit of labor. You could be giving out houses to people everywhere. Of course, he could give out the empty living spaces, right? There's 17 million empty spaces across this country, many of them in California. He could just give those out to people. Could you imagine if this wasn't just insulin, but it was everything people need to survive? What? Oh my God, we can't do that. And so what this does is it creates the threat of a good example. If this were to become a success, and this is a widespread, and all of a sudden California is the one state in the fucking union where you can get your fucking insulin for the fucking at cost, and everybody can afford it, then people start asking questions about what else could be like this. What else could be at cost? Meaning this wouldn't cost, this will, if this all goes forward and it all works well, it doesn't cost the state a dime, right? Because they're selling it at cost. So all of their money gets recouped, and they sell it at cost. And it's not costing the state a dime, and everybody gets their insulin, and people's lives aren't destroyed, and they're doing well, and you aren't creating billionaires off of destroying people's lives. That would be the end result. But the reason it can't happen, and I bet you it will get somehow stopped, destroyed. The moment he's no longer governor, they undo it. Whatever it is, I have a funny feeling they'll find a way to stop this because it's the threat of the good example. We can't have people realizing that their needs could be met and by the government that they supposedly put into office to meet their needs, right? Ostensibly, that's the idea of a government. I vote for a dude, and then he goes in and he helps me get the stuff that I need. That's how that ostensibly that is what the government is. And by the way, someone was upset with me for only making Southerners sound dumb, but I don't know. He make that right there. That's a smart guy, right? He understands what the government, the idea of the government, and he's saying the right thing, and he knows the word ostensibly. So I don't know. He's make Southern accents dumb. Sometimes they're quite bright. I just throw them in there to spice things up sometimes, right? I got to spice up this show somehow, It's Southern accents and my pasty arms. Those are the two things that I do to spice up the show. And Newsom continued, quote, "In California, we know people should not go into debt to receive life-saving medication." That's not very American of him. What the fuck? People in the U.S., this is not a quote anymore, this is the article. People in the U.S. pay more for insulin than people in any other wealthy country. Oh, that's interesting. Almost like every other developed nation has universal health care. Is that what you're saying, article? Article, is that what you're telling me, article? Often paying between 5 to 10 times more than what people in other countries do, research has found. So it's not just that it's like a little more expensive to buy insulin here in the great United States of America, here in the great land of the free, land of opportunity, right? It's not just that it's a little expensive. 5 to 10 times what other people pay. With such high costs for common types of insulin, some people with diabetes have been organizing caravans to travel to Canada in order to obtain the medication for a fraction of the cost. Oh my God. How laughable does our system have to get before people fucking rise up? Like, when you get together a group of people, let's all get in the car and drive 1,000 miles north so we can get some insulin, so we can survive our diabetes, which, by the way, we probably got because of the fucking McDonald's advertisements told us since we were 2 years old that that's what we should be eating. So, the system gave us the diabetes, and now the system is trying to exploit our last dollar for the insulin. Dude, and to have to go to Canada of all places, I mean, god damn it, man. How much worse could it get? You have to go to Canada. I'm just messing with you, Canada. I love you guys. I'm just listen. Don't dish it if you can't take it. I'm sick of you Canadians saying all that bad shit about us. I don't actually know what I'm talking about, but yeah. I mean, I'm sure Canadians say bad shit about the United States, but probably most of it's true. They probably say things like, down in the United States, they have to pay 10 times more for insulin. So they're being kind of accurate, and they throw in a boot just to, how sorry is that down in the United States, they have to pay 10 times the amount for insulin? A recent survey found that a whopping 4 out of 5 patients have taken on credit card debt in order to afford insulin, taking on an average of $9,000 per patient. Think about the number of people that are getting rich off exploiting every level of this system, every level of your life. You got people who got rich selling the fast food that gave you the diabetes, that isn't actually food, that's destroying your system. It's hard, I think heart disease is still the number one killer of Americans. You got over a certain age. You got you're getting rich off giving you the diabetes. Then you got people getting rich off of the insulin, jacking up the price 5 to 10 times. Then you got people getting rich off of the interest you're paying on the credit card debt you took in order to pay off the insulin. Like, how many people have to get rich off of it destroying your life, exploiting you, making sure you can't live a nice, comfortable existence? That is unfettered capitalism. That is how capitalism, and by the way, unfettered capitalism is capitalism, because capitalism will always get there. It can start out very fettered, and then it slowly eats away at the fetters, right? It slowly gnaws at it's a dog gnawing at the leashes. Like you're seeing right now in the UK, right? They have universal health care, but it's the market system is gnawing away at that leash, and they're talking about and slowly moving towards making their healthcare system not free for citizens and something that you have to pay a lot into. So they're slowly gutting it, and then people have to buy a better healthcare system in order to not use the one that's been gutted and turned terrible. That's what we're doing in the United States with public schools, right? For a long time, we had not bad public schools, but then capitalism gnawed at that leash, and slowly the public schools become more and more dilapidated, lower and lower funding. And people start paying to send their kid to the good schools, right? And so you got that's the gravity of the system. The gravity, to mix the metaphors here, the gravity of the system gnaws at the leashes. So, if you picture a dog of gravity that is biting its leash as it slowly sucks things towards it. That's honestly, that's one of my best analogies. I think that might win the analogy race. And I just did a race just to add one more image into this insane analogy. On the analogy race, I think we're winning. So, but honestly, like, what stops a state from we have to ask ourselves, why only insulin? Like, I'm saying, yes, do this. Fucking yes, give people affordable at-cost insulin right now. Do it right fucking now. But then once that happens, let's ask ourselves, why not the other things? Why isn't each state taking things out of the profit over all else system? Why doesn't a state that cares about their citizens producing their own gasoline so that everybody could have cheap gas. Yeah, I know we gotta stop using gas too. But they could also give everybody. They could put in clean energy, green energy, and give everybody free clean green energy. That could be done by the states too, right? They could produce their own meat rather than going to these awful factory farmings and then give all their citizens sustainable and free range and humane meat. Also, we got to get off meat, but you get the point. And they could produce all of their own, like a state could produce all their own pornography. So it's only legitimate, nice, free range, sustainable GMO-free pornography, because there's nothing worse than genetically modified pornography. You want that pure and free range video camera sex. So it's like, what a state could entirely replace big pharma, so there was no profit on any life-saving drug, right? They could have they have all their own health insurance companies that said yes to everything you need. They're just on the phone. You call them up. Hey, I need, yep. Before you even get to the end, they're just, yep. Well, listen, so I need a procedure. Yep, absolutely. We're covering it. Absolutely. Go on in. Yep. That could be the health insurance company. Hey, listen, I need to get a CAT scan because I swallowed a piece of gum. Yep. Go for it. Go do it. Hey, I've been swallowing pennies for sport, and I think a couple of them got stuck in there. I need an X-ray. Yep. Oh, we got it. We're on you. We're covering it. Of course, if they had such a thing like that, this health insurance says yes to everything, that would just be universal health care, right? Everything be covered. But, it was funnier to have that phone call, so I had to do that. But, it could keep going down the list, right? They could produce a state could produce their own iPhones and give them to everybody at cost. And then the iPhones could be made in a really nice and pure and pollution-free and recyclable and not be made by fucking children surrounded by suicide nets, just like working, slaving all day, wearing holes through their My Little Pony jeans they have on. Like, you could have the most pure, wonderful iPhones that are whatever, smartphones created by the state, give them to you at cost and make them in the most wonderful, humane way, just awesome engineering. That is how it would be if you had a system outside of profit, outside of making billionaires off exploiting people. So this insulin thing, I honestly, I think they'll find a way to stop it, because it is the threat of the good example, as Chomsky said. It makes people see it and they go, hey, that's an idea. Well, why can't we do that with other things? So, but this is not the only thing that's being done in a state in order to try and rein in our market economy, rein in the profit over all else. By the way, before I get to that story, just to remind you, in a few minutes, the other streams will stop, like when you're pissing and you cough. The streams to Facebook and YouTube and Rockfin, those will stop, and just the stream to rumble.com/Lee Camp will continue. So if you're watching on Rumble, then nothing will change. If you aren't, head on over to rumble.com/Lee Camp. I'll put it in the comment section as well, and you'll see that it should be the top one up there. Actually, maybe I can give you the full link to that live stream, which I'll do right now. All right, I got the link here. So all right, so I'm gonna put the link in the comment section, so you can head over there and you can start watching there, and it's completely free. Click subscribe when you get over there, but it's completely free to watch over there. And the other streams will stop like you coughed while you were pissing. That is what happens. But anyway, as I was saying, other states are also doing things in cities to try and rein in the monster that is our market economy, that is profit over all else, even as our environment collapses, even as our world is heating up. Other states are doing things. So I thought this one was interesting. This is in Albany, New York. Albany passes a right to repair law for electronics. Under a bill by the state legislature last week, digital electronics manufacturers such as Apple or Samsung will be required to make repair instructions and parts available to both consumers and independent technicians. The right to repair legislation, which still needs to be signed into law by the governor, is believed to be the first of its kind in the United States. It follows a year-long campaign by tech and environmental activists who accused manufacturers of intentionally restricting the ability to repair their products, a strategy known as planned obsolescence. Yes, planned obsolescence, as I've been calling it, shit be breaking. That's the nerd term is planned obsolescence. The human being term is shit be breaking. All right, shit be designed to break. Because by designing it to break or designing it to go obsolete, then they can make you buy a new one, right? You think, the argument for this shit is like, oh, well, in the market economy, if you make your stuff break too much, then people won't want to buy it. Well, that might be true to some extent. iPhones don't break within a week of getting them, but they have iPhones and Samsung and is there a Google phone? There's basically 2 to 3 phones that are on the market that are easily accessible and work with everybody else's stuff. So 2 to 3 companies have taken over the entire cell phone, smartphone. They monopolize the market. So they can force you to buy all this extra shit. Oh, you go, the adapter doesn't fit this year. The charger doesn't fit the thing. You got to get a new operating set. Your storage is full and you just can't. If you need to, so it's your phone's slowing down a little and you need to get the new. You see what's happened here is this phone has just slowed down a little. It's getting to what I call George W. Bush level of operating. It's getting to what I call Joe Biden in his fucking 80s operating speed. And so you're going to need a new one. They're designed that way. They're designed to fade out, to get slow. I'm convinced, this is my theory, that there's just a giant switch at iPhone that, it used to be Steve Jobs, but then it became whoever that Cook. Cook is the guy now. Then became Cook, and there's just a giant switch there. And when they want the new cell phone, the new smartphone to slow down, they just flip the giant. It's just a big red switch that they go blook, and all of a sudden your phone goes slow as shit. So that they make everyone buy new ones. But anyway, This legislation ends what is a monopoly on the repair market by corporate actors and incentivizes competition within the industry. At the same time, we'd also help to reduce the this is an assembly member saying this. At the same time, we'd also help reduce the 655,000 tons of toxic e-waste produced, typically discarded in a single calendar year in just New York State. 655,000 tons of toxic e-waste in one state in the United States. Should I say that number a couple more times just to let that sink in? 655,000 tons of e-waste. And a fair chunk of that is because people's chargers don't fit, their phone doesn't work, they're getting a new one, they're upgrading. But how much of iPhone or Apple's business is from endless upgrades, endless need to buy and get new devices? Like, that's most of their profit. But anyway, the larger aspect of this, the deeper layer of this, You know, I like to talk about the layers of reality. The surface layer, which a lot of these articles that if you were to read about this would say, the surface layer would be that this is a great law put forward by Albany in New York State. You know, they're doing good there, trying to make it legal and widespread for you to get your cell phone or smartphone repaired. That's the surface layer. But you go down a layer and you see, oh, this is a state trying to deal with the ripple effects, the ramifications of a market economy that is doing this, that is making you throw stuff out constantly, that's making you upgrade and change constantly, that is not actually giving you the best device. Like, that is the big argument for, capitalism, right? Is it gets you the best things all the time, right? Well, no, they legitimately want to make sure you don't have the best phone that just lasts a really long time and doesn't need to be upgraded. But anyway, this is them trying. It's also a state trying to deal with monopoly, trying to deal with the fact that a couple of companies own the over 90% of the smartphone market, and they can control how often you buy these things, how much you need to buy this stuff, and they create immense waste. This is why the environment's collapsing, dude. This is why it's happening. I mean, oh, thanks. Someone in the comment section did the math. 655,000 tons is 1,310,000,000 pounds of electronic waste just in New York State alone. If Suzanne in the comment section has that correct, which I'll trust anybody on math because I don't do the maths. Oz are not good at the maths. So, all right. Much like when you sneeze while pissing, the other streams are ending. But please join me at rumble.com/LeeCamp. But moving on, now that everybody has these smartphones everywhere, that has a ripple effect.